Hey all, just a reminder, the pizza's just out the back there if you want to grab some.
a second. So just put that somewhere facing up.
Hello? Hello? Oh. Hello? By the way, can you keep my phone? I'm gonna shut it down. What the hell? Okay. I'm so nervous. Oh my god. Oh, that's my coworker, by the way. That's my friend. Oh yeah, even Lex works here.
Lex works at YBF?
No, he doesn't work at YBF, it's just the building. Oh, say, can you see? I hope it doesn't re-echo. Oh, why was it echoing, by the way? Why was it echoing?
We'll fiddle with it. We'll fiddle with it as we go.
Do I have pizza on my face? Why are you laughing at me? I feel more nervous. Oh no, it's stuck on your hair. That looks very... It looks, you know that thing that you have on your stocking? Yeah. It does. It does. What was that? You know that thing? Yeah. How do you know that? I'm really nervous. I'm so nervous right now. I'm so nervous. Oh, I turned it off. I'm just really paranoid about getting phone calls in the middle. Do you have an iPhone? I don't really need pictures, like one is fine. Like one or two. Oh, okay. I mean, I just need like one or two. I'm so nervous.
It's the same as I just went exactly the same.
Oh yeah, why is yours so trash?
Mine just
Your
looks
camera.
like an iPhone.
But the thing is, why is your camera so trash?
No, it's good. It's the same.
No.
Turn it on. Turn yours on as well.
Show
The
me.
selfie camera sucks.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But the front camera.
Yeah. No, don't turn it on.
Why?
Because I'm afraid of getting phone calls.
Don't have disturb.
What?
Put it on silent.
No. I'm just afraid. I'm really paranoid right now. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you put it there right now. This camera.
Okay. Oh my god, I'm so nervous. You will hear. Okay, I'm so glad you asked that question, because one thing was I was really afraid that I would end up repeating information, because everybody here is a developer. So since you guys don't know do you know what hacker culture is? Hacker culture?
I know it began in like MIT when they hacked into box.
Oh, did you know anything else outside of that? If you don't, that's good, because even if it's just one person who doesn't know about it and they know about it after my talk, it's worth it. I'm so nervous.
Wait, you turned it off again?
Yeah. Do you want it on?
Airplane mode. So take photos with your phone.
Okay. I'm so nervous right now. My hands are sweating.
Photo or two if you like it.
Yeah, that'd be good. Like, I mean, just like one, because I don't want you to be distracted from the talk. I don't want you to be distracted from the talk, though. So just like take one. Just take like one. Oh yeah.
All set?
I'm so nervous.
No, you don't have to be. You're going to do well. Really awesome. All the very, very best. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so scared. It'll be good.
You don't need it. You can just go like that.
It'll be good. Huh?
I'm also starting to feel a bit nervous as well.
Is it because of me?
No, not at all. I've got to
Oh yeah.
introduce everybody, run through a whole bunch of things, make sure that the startup pitches work well, and make sure everybody gets in and all that sort of stuff. So there's one thing that I'm not concerned about. That's your presentation. I'm sure it will go fantastic. Great.
Thank you.
You'll be fine. About 10 minutes behind schedule. Don't worry about
Let's
it.
go to the bathroom really quick. Okay.
We made a decision that people still arrive and just delay everything by 10 minutes.
Okay. Okay. And why did she go to the bathroom now? No! She went when the bell's right about to be struck. Okay, I'll just stay here then. I'm so nervous. I had lipstick like all over my teeth right when I came to the event. And somebody put it in. Wipe my glasses. Right. Okay. Great. Where do I go? I'll just go sit in the corner. Wait, show me. Oh no! It looks thick.
If everybody at the back would like to take their seats, don't make me ring that bell again. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 2018 CocoaHeads, Android GDG, and Melbourne Mobile Christmas Party. Yeah. The idea of this event is to really gather the entire Melbourne Mobile community together to wrap up the end of the year, do a bit of networking, celebrate, listen to some presentations, have some fun, and win a few door prizes as well. So I'm so excited to see so many people here this evening. We are running a tiny little bit behind time. That's totally fine. I'll be kicking off with a bit of an intro. We're then going to have our speaker for this evening, Aisha, who will be presenting over to the hacker. We'll then go into a short break. We'll come back with the prize draw, and then we're going to go into the awful startup pitches, which should be a pretty awesome event. At the end of the evening, we should have a little bit of time for networking, for everybody to grab that last drink or slice of pizza. Before at 8:30, we'll be heading off down to the Mitre Tavern for some drinks for anybody that want to continue discussing the year that was. This evening, we have a photographer, Carlos, who's very kindly offered to take photos of the event. We will be using those photos to tweet, put on our websites, and promote future events. If you are at all not comfortable with your photo being tweeted or something like that, please come up and talk to Carlos. We photos that they've taken of the event. So all of the CocoaHeads people like rush to your iPhones and madly download Google Photos so that you can share your wonderful photos with us. We also have two different codes of conduct which we're running the events under tonight, both the GDG one and the CocoaHeads code of conduct, creating a welcoming, generous community where everybody feels comfortable to be here is very important to us. So if you at all see anything that would contravene our code of conduct or is making anybody uncomfortable, there's a number of things you can do. You can head to those URLs and there are email addresses you can submit to. You can also speak to, I think, Jesse on the CocoaHeads side tonight and Katie on the GDD side tonight as well. We would not have been able to run this year of amazing events without all of our sponsors. So I hope we can all put your hands together for all of our sponsors. Firstly on the GDD side, iFlix. Our silver sponsors, REA and Outwear. And our community sponsors, Itty Bitty Apps and Australia Post. On the CocoaHead side, their major sponsor is realestate.com.au. And CocoaHead silver sponsors, Itty Bitty Apps, Billy U, J-Tribe, Cognizant Digital Business, and something that looks like a rocket. Explore. We have also had some money and people come from the Melbourne Mobile Meetup group tonight. Their sponsor, Cloud, is also providing some funds tonight, so a big hand for Cloud. And with that, we're just about to kick off to our speaker for this evening. Usually throughout the year, we have fairly technical presentations at each of our meetups. We talk about this Android tool or that iOS API. But for the Christmas party, we try and run a presentation that's a bit more general and a bit more broad and can appeal to everybody and also kind of provide a beautiful bookend for the year. This year, I was actually a little bit concerned. It's a big ask to find a speaker that's able to come and give a presentation at the end of the year, and it was looking like we wouldn't get anybody until at the last GDG, Aisha came up and said that she was really interested in presenting. And when she explained her idea and what she would like to speak about, that would be amazing for the Christmas party. Even though she's a university student, she's extremely passionate and eloquent about her chosen subject. Can I get everybody to give a huge round of applause as Aisha comes up on the stage to welcome her for her presentation, Ode to a Hacker.
Thank you so much for that. Oh, is this working? Test. Hello, world. Okay. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Luke. So before I actually start presenting, I want to talk about a little memory that I have from 2 years ago. So at the end of December 2016, I was applying for college applications. And college applications, as you can imagine, can be pretty philosophical, and they can ask you questions that I wasn't really sure how to answer at the time. And one of those questions happened to be, if there were any point in history that you would have liked to experience, what would it be? I, at the time, did not know how to answer. But now that it's been over 2 years, and I really think about how I got interested in computer science, and how my hurdles have helped me develop my philosophy in computer science, I think I might have the answer now. And that answer probably is this. So at first glance, this doesn't seem particularly striking. So it's the side of a building with some windows lit up. Right. But it's actually a lot more than that. It's a fully functional, playable game of Tetris on the side of a building, as some of you have already known or guessed. Yes, on the evening of 20th of April in 2012, a bunch of engineers got together and hacked a building to be able to play Tetris on it. And that little box thing that you can see with the with the red light on it is actually the remote box from where you could control that game of Tetris. Like, isn't that so amazing? Now, I would like to ask the audience a question. What does this look like to you? Somebody put, yes?
A remote-controlled trolley.
Yeah, you're pretty close on. So this is actually a speedy go-kart made out of a recycled motor, a steering wheel, and a shopping cart from a garbage dump. And I think that's so incredible because somebody looked at a shopping cart and thought, hey, I can play speedy kart on that. And it was called the Lario Kart after Mario Kart. And there was supposed to be a playable video. I hope it plays now, of it working. Yeah. Yeah. Ah, there we go. So, for both of those two ideas, as you can see, there was a kind of childlike inventiveness almost for those two projects. And for that type of projects that incorporate that type of breaking apart from an object's sphere of use and incorporating childlike inventiveness into it, there's a word for that type of project, and it's called hacks, as some of you already know. And this word, hack and hackers, actually originated in the late 1950s from one of MIT's student clubs called MIT Tech Model Railroad Club. And it just defined a hack as something that is undertaken because that project is not just because it's functional or because it's sellable, but because it's so drastically different from everything that you're used to seeing about that idea that just being a part of it is so fun. And that's exactly why I wanted to be a part of, the Tetris game on the building. And whether it be painting the Earth on MIT's dome or something simple like turning the elevator buttons into a light-up Batman logo or something just plain out abstract that isn't physically possible yet, hacks encapsulate so many different things and break apart from that idea of what something's supposed to do. And because there are so many different projects, there's actually an entire website, hacks.mit.edu, which you guys should totally check out. But unfortunately, because of the way media has sometimes portrayed hackers, sometimes people outside of the tech sphere can associate the word hackers with trolls on the internet, or as black hat information seekers going out there to steal your information. Neither of which are historically true. Because historically, a hacker has been defined by the jargon file as somebody that knows the intricacies of a software and hardware system so well that they can overcome a software system's limitations by thinking of its uses in different ways. And these hacks, as you saw, they're not equivalent to pranks. They're not simple whoopee cushion pranks. They require a lot of intellectual thought, a lot of engineering ability, and sometimes they can even reflect really abstract ideas or even political ideas. And sometimes these hacks can also have a certain hack value. So think about it like this. We're so conditioned to seeing certain things being used in just one particular way that a lot of the times we can't think outside of its sphere of use. Like, how many people look at the side of a building and think, I can play Tetris on that? And the truth is, very, very few. And so the hack value of a project essentially ties with how much it breaks apart from its intended field of use. And there's actually an entire psychological bias for that, and it's called functional fixedness. And like I just mentioned, it's when you're so used to a way a certain things work that you can't think of many other ways that it could be used. And so a really, really big part of being a hacker is being able to question things that are given to you and thinking, maybe I can use this in a different way. Maybe I can incorporate this into something bigger that nobody else has thought of. Because think about it. If you buy something, but you can't fix it, have you ever really owned it? Now, I would like to do a little bit of a creative test. So this is a laser mouse, as all of you know. And everybody knows what a mouse is used for. But can you think of any other way that a mouse can be used? Like, it can be anything. Just let your mind run free. Yes? A camera? How would it be a camera? Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was thinking like it could be a barcode scanner. Yeah. Sure, it could be like squish and you can't use it again. Yeah? Sure. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. So Luke's daughter actually told me it could be like a cat attractor because of the laser. And yeah, so this is just one example of something that you can use in many other different ways. And the one I thought of was like you could use it as a barcode scanner when I was way younger. And I didn't know you could actually do that. But then I looked it up when I was preparing this presentation and I realized somebody actually did that. So it's just interesting to think of how many different ways mundane things can be used. And this is Richard Stallman, who was the founder of GNU. And he encapsulated this ethic of hacker culture really beautifully. And he again reiterates the idea that hackers know their software systems and hardware systems and the intricacies of them really, really well. But that's not the only thing that makes a hacker. They want to take that system and make something bigger out of it and present it to the world and say, look at this thing I made. I bet you never could have thought that it could be done this way. And because hacker culture encapsulates so many different people from around the world, there's obviously a certain type of philosophy for that, and we call it the hacker ethic. And these are just some, open tenets about how hacker culture operates. The first and foremost being that when you create a project, you should be able to share it with the world, because then anybody and everybody can contribute to it and make it a worldwide progressive thing. Having the ability to question and criticize is incredibly important in hacker culture. Because if you can't criticize something, and if you can't question something, you won't ever be able to help progress it or improve it. Not liking things that are kept secret. Because if you don't know the entire ways a system can operate, you still don't know how to improve it in a holistic sense. And the thing with authority is that while I do agree that sometimes a certain element of it can be helpful, when you put over restrictions on a project and you tell people to do something a certain way, then they won't be able to think outside of the way things are usually done. And as with the last 2 points, you can probably connect these two to the first two projects with the Tetris on a building and the speedy go-kart on the shopping cart, because those type of ideas, that type of gamification is often associated with the way children think. And that, yet, is still a really important part of hacker culture. So hacker culture has definitely led to some really big revolutions that I'm pretty sure everybody here knows. So I'm going to tell you guys a story about a maker, a storyteller, and something called blue boxes. So blue boxes are just a type of device which you can use to make long-distance calls using a telephone network, but illegally. And the person who made this actually is quoted saying that he made this not for the sake of sellability, but for the fact he just wanted to show that you can do something with it, that you can actually create something out of a telephone network that nobody else thought of. Can you guys guess who these people were? You guys know this for sure. Yes? Yes, exactly. So that's Steve Jobs and the Woz, and this is their blue box. And as you guys know, they created Apple. And this was actually their first project together, blue boxes. And their fifth project was the original Macintosh. And when that same project was released that year, the book, The Hackers, Heroes of the Information Revolution by Stephen Levi was also released. And there's an entire section about the way hacker culture is a significant part of Apple's core culture. Because the way the Woz worked with blue boxes, again, wasn't for the sake of reproducibility or for the sake of sellability, but for the sake of showing that you can do something outside of something's sphere of use. Another incredible example of the way hacker culture can cause really big tides in the tech world is the open source movement. And everybody's familiar with this. Open source just means that when you create a project, you put its source code on the internet for anybody to see and contribute to and develop upon. And one very big example would be GNU. And another really big example would be Linux, which are very interrelated. And the thing about Linux is that it's so fascinating because it's a worldwide collaborations where anybody, regardless of economic status or education level, can contribute to, as long as you have the skill to be able to. And because of this, at the core of open source is inclusiveness, because you're including everybody, and you're essentially saying, as long as you have the skill, you can contribute to this type of project. And for this very reason, open source is kept alive by worldwide contributions. And when you have something that's open to everybody, and the only thing that is limiting them is their only skill, which they could easily learn, it's the closest thing that we can have to a meritocracy. A third really big example would be the fight for information freedom. And Aaron Swartz was just somebody that was really against paywalls, and he believed that access to information was a fundamental human right. And he essentially put forth the idea that if you go to a very elitist university and then only you can have access to scientific information, that didn't really stick with him well. And he really believed that paywalls were fundamental. Sorry, that paywalls were essentially contributing to the lack of sharing of information with people all around the world. And in this way, he was noted as one of the most famous hackers. And okay, so the word hackers originated in the late 1950s at one university in one city. But does it still really play a role in a worldwide theme? And yes, it does. And just for that reason, let me tell you my story. That's me. And I was born in the United Arab Emirates in Dubai, and I moved to Abu Dhabi when I was around 3. But even before I was born, this CRT desktop, it was an Acer CRT desktop. I think this is LG. But it looks like that. And that was a family member to my parents long before I was born. And so I was literally born to an Acer desktop that would prove to be a fundamental aspect in on the things that I'm interested in now and what my philosophy is. And there were actually recordings of me when I was like 20 days old on that computer. And I was really fascinated by that, magical box thing. And I would watch like lock screen videos on it when I was around 4. And then when I was 5, I actually went up to my dad and asked him, hey dad, okay, so I know that you can like click on things, but like how does the clicky thing work? Like how does something so far away like click? And like how does this computer know what to show to you? And one of the things that he explained to me was that the CPU is where the numbers played with each other, which obviously means that it's where numbers are logically assessed and numbers are calculated and stuff. But I took that literally, and I actually broke open the CPU to find like numbers and befriend them, but I didn't. That was devastating. And when I was 6, I learned how to edit videos on my mom's Nokia, and I used Windows Movie Maker to be able to burn those on discs and force my family to watch. And then in 2008, I accidentally pressed a keyboard shortcut on the browser, and it showed me the framework of the website, which was HTML, and I dragged my dad in, and I was like, what is this thing? I don't understand. Can you explain this to me? And he told me that I could make my own website and stuff, and I was like really stoked about being able to do it. But I was incredibly heartbroken when I learned that Aisha.com was taken, which is why I kind of put off my interest in website development for a while. But so the internet obviously gives off a lot of free information, and I mainly relied on YouTube to be able to learn. And at the time, I was really interested in physics, and I was learning through Minute Physics, which is a physics YouTube channel. And in one of the videos, he talked about Arduinos, and I got really interested in Arduinos because of that. And then I learned Java through a free online course provider called EDX. So as you can probably tell, most of the skills that I learned were fundamentally on my own through free information that I accessed on the internet and on my computer. But you see, because I lived in the UAE, and as you can probably imagine, questioning things such as culture, politics, or even religion was a really big taboo. And because I grew up with an engineering mindset where I couldn't accept anything without being able to break it apart, see how it worked, how to improve on it, I didn't really feel like that was right. Like, I just didn't feel like I could process that. And so from a really young age, I became pretty much an outcast from my community. And so I lived my own little circle in the library. And in addition to that, because I'm a Bangladeshi citizen, the UAE and Bangladesh actually faced a lot of political rivalry when I was around 10. And because of that, we were deprived of many educational and financial rights. And so as a result, I wasn't allowed to enroll in many academic programs. And I wasn't even sure if I was going to graduate high school. And we could only work really low-level jobs. So that obviously took a really big financial toll on my family. And as a result, I wasn't able to access many educational resources that I saw many of my friends getting. But I already found a home on the internet, because as long as you have a computer and an internet connection, you can learn anything. And that was so fundamental to me, because I didn't need to be in a physical place to be able to learn my skills. Most of what I learned was through the internet, through online courses, through, through sites that were providing understanding of how programming languages worked. And so, even though I'm probably one of the youngest people in this room, I'm 18 years old, my voice is a testament to the fact that hacker culture literally crosses economic and social barriers, that regardless of where you're from, your economic status, and where you are in the world, you can learn and you can contribute because of free information, because of open source, because of hacker culture. So if there's this one thing that you could take away from this, just hack something. It doesn't matter what your background is, because the thing is not to become a hacker. The thing is being able to retain that type of childlike inventiveness that everybody is born with, and to remain a hacker. Thank you.
Thank you for that incredible and very inspiring presentation. We're really grateful for you to come speak tonight. We have a small prize for you. It's a little Android.
Oh, okay.
Thought you could, we're not quite sure what type of Android it is, so you can open it up and we can all see.
Oh yeah, I was actually telling Katie right before this, I'm like, oh, I want something like this. And she was like, shh.
Would you like to open the Android?
Yes, I would. I want to see what it is. Oh, is there like an open? Never mind. Oh, and it comes in a case. Another one.
Ooh.
Oh, okay, this is cool.
Wow.
Oh, it's a zombie one. Thank you.
All right, and we're now going to go to a short break. Time to grab another slice of pizza or maybe another drink. And in 10 minutes, we'll kick off with the awful startup pitches.
And door prizes.
And door prizes.
I feel like I got a little bit nervous at the end.
Really good. That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really, really cool.
Can you grab the mic back off you?
Oh, yeah, sure.
So you're not